by the time you get to this lesson, lesson 5, you should be pretty comfortable with Excel. And we're about to dive into probably one of the most powerful utilizations of Excel, and that is to create graphs and charts. And so I'm going to go ahead and open up Excel, have my icon down here at the bottom. I'll click on this. I'll go ahead and click on blank workbook. And then let's just say you have a roster. And then we have 2 columns, students and grades. And just really simply, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and list several students' grades, and then we're just going to graph basically a chart that actually shows the relationship of their grades to one another. And so we'll just say Sue, Bob, Joe, Fred, Sally, Ruth. Okay, and so Sue got 100%, Bob got 90%, Joe got 100%, Fred got 67%, Sally got 88%, and Ruth got 93%. So basically we have a roster here. Let me spell that correctly up here. And I'll go ahead and enlarge this so that you can see it a little bit better. In order to create a graph of something, it's actually quite simple. You can just go ahead and highlight what you have here. And to graph, what you do is you have to know the right tab. A lot of the times, you're not going to know what the right tab is. And so just do what I do. Click on Insert tab and look for the graphs. Okay, that was a little bit too simple. But let's say you were on this tab and you're like, okay, well, let's click on this. See, do I see graphs? No. Click on this. Do I see graphs? No. Don't feel like you are an unintelligent human being because you have to click on all the tabs. I do that all the time, and I've been working with Excel for years. I just go ahead and look for the icon that makes sense to me. The graph icons are located here, and so you can choose what kind of a graph you want to make. And we'll just go ahead and click on the bar chart, and I'll just click on the first one. So if I click on that, it gives me the particular graph. Now, it's really interesting here. Notice for each student, it gives me the particular color, and then it squishes them all the way to the right here. Well, that doesn't make sense to me. So you know what? Let's go ahead and change that. Let's take these particular grades, and let's just put them right next to students here. And then what we can do is we can go ahead and delete this column. And what I'm going to do is, you'll notice I can take the mouse and I can move the graph, and I can go ahead and delete it. I'll just go ahead and delete it as so. I'll just right click. It's not allowing me to delete. I'll do Control X. So Control X worked. Okay, delete should have worked too. So I'm going to go ahead and just highlight this, and I'll click on the graph again. And there we have it. We have a much nicer graph where there's even distribution of space because I put the columns right next to one another. Now, I wanted to show you that kind of activity of both looking for where the graph is, then creating a graph that actually didn't look right, and then moving things around. That is really a lot of what professionals do in their workplace when they're working with Excel. You know, very few people, go to their Excel manual, try and look it up or whatnot. Mainly do what people around the world do, and that is just keep clicking on buttons until something works for you. Now, you're going to have a whole lot of things. You're going to say, well, you know what? I didn't want the title here to be grades. Well, go ahead and click on it. You can go ahead and say, my student grades. And then if you want to learn more about how to use a particular graph or to change things, you can go ahead and right click on it, and it'll give you other options. You can change the chart type, you can save as a template, select a set of data, you can format the chart area, etc. Sometimes this is not how you want things to look like. You actually want to use a different particular graph. And so let's just go ahead and go back to Insert, and let's choose this graph, which is the lines. And so the lines give us a different type of picture of what we're working with. Now, I just want to show you really quick. Microsoft tools work really well together. And so I can go to PowerPoint here. I'll click on PowerPoint. We wait till that opens. If you've taken the PowerPoint class, all of this is quite familiar to you. And then what you could do is you can go to your Excel document, and let's go ahead and pull it up here, and then take hold of the graph. Actually, we'll copy it. Let's do a right click. I'm going to click on the whole thing. We'll do a right click here. Let me click off of it. Right click, click copy. I go to PowerPoint. I could say graph, type here. Put that up here, put this down here. And then I can go to paste, and it pastes my graph right inside of a PowerPoint. And so as you get comfortable with the Microsoft tools, you'll learn how well they interface with one another and interact with one another. So that's basically it about using a graph, doing charts. There's all kinds of things you can do with your students. In math class, you can have them chart information. In history, you could have them actually look at a variety of different eras in which different activities took place, and then you can have them graph information. If you're on a political science topic, you can have votes from the class and then enter everyone's vote and the number of votes and quickly see by the graph what topic, what item, what person was voted for. So anyway, go to town with this, and I think you'll enjoy it very much. Take care. Bye-bye.